Hi everybody, Tosh here. I just wanted to make a quick video on ReFloat versus float package and why you should be using ReFloat from now on. If you don't know what ReFloat or float package are or what the difference is, basically float package is the kind of current package, software package inside of VESC that we've all been using to make our balance boards work. And ReFloat is sort of an evolved version of that. So I want to talk about what the advantages are to using ReFloat and why you should be upgrading. There are three main reasons why ReFloat is created and why it's important to be using it from now on. The first one is kind of behind the scenes. Both of these packages are open source developed, which means that the people making them are releasing everything for everybody to see. They're basically putting all their own time into it, and so wherever they're actively supporting development is kind of the best place to be. And since ReFloat came out, a lot of the developers, most if not all, are now working on ReFloat, and so that will be what's getting updated more frequently and adding new features from here on out. So basically, if you want your stuff to stay up to date and get all the new features, you'll want to be on ReFloat. Okay, second reason is there is a huge user interface improvement. So a lot of you know that the VESC tool app interface is not great. There's been entire apps created to make it, help make it a little bit better. But with ReFloat, we finally do have a usable interface. So some of the things that I really like about it are you get really good consolidation. I can see my duty cycle, name of the board, how much power I'm drawing, how fast I'm going, battery percentage, everything in one place. But it's also really good because you can see actively how much pitch and roll angle you have, so you kind of good troubleshooting if your sensors are activated, and the battery percentage is more trustable than previous versions. So those are all the kind of highlights of the user interface. I mean, you'll see the screen video here, it's just a lot better in every way. The third reason, and this one, just bear with me here, we're gonna get a little bit nerdy for a second, but it's probably the most significant reason in terms of like differences about your board you're gonna feel, and it's separate access filtering. So quickly, let's go over what that is and why it's so important and so good that we have it. Okay. In three-dimensional world where we are, there's three principal axes for rotation, right? You have what we would call the pitch axis when the board goes like this, and that's one that we've traditionally been really involved with Onewheels, right? Because you gotta adjust it to be flat again. You have the roll axis, which is how far in this direction you're going, and then you have yaw, which would be the board rotating like this. Okay, in float package, so basically there's a little gyroscope. We can all kind of understand that there has to be some sort of gyroscope in the controller, and it more or less detects how can I get flat again, apply power to the motor to make it spin and be flat. Now, the gyroscope is responsible for helping the board determine how far away from flat you are, but it's also true that sometimes we like to hit berms, or we're not riding on a completely flat surface. Maybe we're riding at a little bit of an angle, something like this. Now, when I'm riding at an angle like this, maybe on a berm, my nose down here is actually, and hopefully you guys can see this, my nose down here is actually closer to the ground. So wouldn't it make sense if I lifted up the board a little bit so that even though I'm on a corner, I still have a good amount of clearance here? So, and this is just the coolest part, developers understand that and have basically written into the code that if your nose is really close to the ground, we actually want to angle the board up a little bit, apply a little bit more power to the motor so it angles up and flattens the board out a little bit. It's how we can do berms and everything. It's part of the magic that's going on behind the scenes. Now, the gyroscope in here is extremely sensitive, and what happens is the information coming from it, if you looked at this on a graph, it would just be huge spikes and everything, and it's more or less not great out of the gate to be using for the very specific adjustments that we need to make. So there's filters that we can run on the information, the position information, or rather the inertia information, but besides the point. You can run a filter on it. It makes it basically be like a better number for us to use. And before ReFloat, we were running the same filter on the pitch axis and the roll axis. So basically when I'm detecting these, how far rolled and how far, pitch I am, I was using the same filter. Everybody was using the same filter to make that happen. Now the filters are separated out by axis, which means that we can get basically you can use different numbers for both axes, and that pretty much makes it so that when you're cornered like this, you can have better response. When you're going like this, you can have it be the way you have always had it, and it makes a huge difference to the stability of the board. Going on berms and stuff feels butter. It feels like that kind of factory experience that we all love. And anyway, it's just part of the magic that you need to get in on. So those are pretty much the three main reasons. Development, like I said, is going to be really the main one. If you want to stay up to date on features, and there's some really amazing features coming soon, then you should be using ReFloat. And there's a video somewhere, probably not on the screen because I'm not that good, but like in the description, I will show you step by step, no experience required, how to go from float package to ReFloat. Thank you for watching.